The 10 best modern designer fragrances that you can buy? Justin,
Crazy.
this is a bold one, but why not? I'm pretty sure that this title speaks for itself, so I don't think I need to explain what we're about to do. But I will get a couple things out of the way, as they are imperative. Best is obviously subjective. Your best will be different from mine. But if you're here for my opinion, then you've got it. Now, what constitutes best for me is using a very specific criteria. It is as follows. Number one, if a fragrance on this list is a flanker, it does what a flanker should do in my opinion. It gives the identity of the original DNA new life and possibly even gives it a new function. Number two, if it is a new DNA, it actually offers something new. It is not overtly riding a trend. Therefore, it is not strongly redundant to other scents from other brands. And finally, the fragrance needs to hold my interest, not just my attention. I need some depth there. Another obvious point, my choices in this video could obviously change with time. As new fragrances are released, things can always change, so keep that in mind. Also, and maybe most importantly, I do not have nor have I tried all modern designer releases. So again, whatever you might consider the best, if it's not here, it's possible that I haven't tried it. If you're upset by that,
make your own top 10.
And I do need to define what I mean by modern. I'm talking time-wise. Just to keep it simple, we're saying within the last 5 years. So essentially from 2018 to now, 2023, all those fragrances are considered, at least the ones that I've tried. There are plenty of amazing fragrances that I would have loved to include, but they missed the timing mark by maybe just 1 year. I wanted to be very strict. And I lied. It's not 10, it's 11. So let's do it. At number 11, this is an amazing scent, but there are others I just like more, but it's so good. From Guerlain, the latest in the L'Homme Ideal pantheon, so to speak, is L'Homme Ideal Extreme. The newest flanker that is not all that new now. It came out like 3 years ago at this point, so we're ready for another one. And I don't say that lightly because I'm not always so welcoming of new flankers, but this is one of those rare lines on the market that does what a flanker should do in my opinion. That's why it's on this list. This offers a new personality to the identity. It is clearly tied to the original, sweet tonka bean, creamy bitter almond, a little bit of an almost fruity cherry vibe, almost syrupy in a way, but a nice leathery woody backbone, making it very, very handsome and even a little bit seductive. This takes that DNA, replaces the cherry vibe with plum, adds a bit of tobacco, giving it a bit more rough around the edges vibe, but still overall quite sweet, elegant, a little bit syrupy, but a little bit woodier this time, but overall pretty smooth. It's definitely grown on me with time. I actually didn't love it when I first got it, but I'm happy to have it now, and it is a bit hard to find. But do sample this one if you can. That is Guerlain L'Homme Ideal Extreme. At number 10, from Tom Ford, Black Orchid Parfum. Once again, a flanker done right here. This takes the original Black Orchid, which is an iconic landmark of a fragrance, really shook things up when it came out, and I think it's timeless. It will stand the test of time. And this takes that pretty intensely sweet, earthy, floral fragrance that it is, has a little bit of funk to it. And if anything, it makes it perhaps a little bit more masculine because a lot of guys consider the original to be a little bit feminine. And I totally understand why. This takes it, makes it a little bit rougher, boozy, has a bit of an earthy truffle feel. And it's not quite as floral, but it's still unmistakably Black Orchid, but it just amps it up. Not gonna be for everyone. So guys, if you were nervous or not much of a fan of the original, you might wanna consider checking out the Parfum. It's also quite strong. You don't need to spray much of it. It can be overpowering very quickly, but this is a beautiful, elegant night out scent. It could be a little bit situational. I wouldn't call this a signature scent, but it is a beautiful progression on the continuum of Black Orchid. Black Orchid Parfum. This next fragrance at number 9 barely made the list because it was released in 2018 and it's from Narciso Rodriguez, and this is Bleu Noir Eau de Parfum. A flanker to the original Bleu Noir EDT. Great scent. Don't like it quite as much, but I do appreciate it. It is a little bit sharper and fresher, which does kind of have its own function. It's as a result a little bit more clean smelling, whereas this is softer, rounder, muskier, maybe a little bit more sensual. So it does still have that blue-ish freshness that makes it versatile. You can wear it as a daily wear all year round, but the central nature of it makes it a little bit more suitable for the evening, for more seductive wear, for more alluring wear. Simple, maybe a little bit linear, but really nice. Great to get close to and also great to smell in the air. Smells clean, but with interest. Narciso Rodriguez Bleu Noir Eau de Parfum. At number 8, we got another Tom Ford, and it will not be the last one. What a release. I blind bought this one. I unboxed it live on camera. It didn't move me completely at the time, but once I gave it the full wearing, I realized what I actually got. And I'm so glad I caught fire here. This is Ebene Fume. This is smoky Palo Santo wood. Dry, a little bit burning smelling in a way. Has a nice bit of freshness from some violet leaf that's very, very pronounced. And it dries down with a beautiful kind of sweet resinous feel. Very warm, almost like it smolders as it dries down, starts hot, gets warm. Perhaps a little bit polarizing because it is very specific, but great release, maybe a little bit overlooked, I would say. Definitely worth a sample. Not going to be for everyone. I'm warning you. You've been warned. Ebene Fume from Tom Ford. We got another flanker done right here. Taking a classic from the late 1990s from Cartier. And I don't know if I would say it modernizes it, but it does take it further. It takes it deeper. This is Declaration Parfum. The original is a little bit polarizing. Believe it or not, some people don't like it when they've smelled it. There's a spicy quality to it that not everyone enjoys. And I think it's cumin. And here, the cumin is amped up even more. So this is even more polarizing. This is darker, spicier, more leathery, maybe a little bit more resinous. There is this still kind of bitter orange cardamom freshness to it that's very pervasive. But immediately there is a bit of a funk from that dry cumin note. The way it dries down, it's kind of bittersweet, almost ambery warm, but dry, woody, spicy, pretty masculine, I would say. Definitely for more upscale wear. Get a sample, spray it, and smell with caution. Don't dig your nose into it. You might regret it. That is Declaration Parfum. Here at number 6, from Tom Ford, once again. Beau de Jour, released in 2020. This was a gift from my good friend Frederick, who sent this to me basically right when it came out, maybe even before it was truly making the rounds on YouTube. I feel like I may have had one of the first reviews on this fragrance, and you can check that out. I'll put it up here to see my initial thoughts from several years ago. But this is a classic. This is a mature fragrance, but made for the modern gentleman. You have to appreciate kind of an old school feel to appreciate this. This is a bit of an old school fougere, kind of barbershop-y in a way. Creamy, fresh, aromatic, a little spicy, lots of clean lavender, but a ton of dry, woody oak moss in here. That kind of makes it smell a little bit more mature. And it does have a beautiful, warm, ambery dry down that's kind of sensual in the air, and it performs beautifully. Very refined smelling. If you want to smell like a gentleman, this is a way to do it. That is Beau de Jour from Tom Ford. Incredible stuff. A great revival of the fougere from a designer house. From Cartier, once again, you guys are seeing some of my favorite brands here come up over and over, and we will continue to see that. Pasha de Cartier Parfum. What a flanker. Once again, flanker done right. Takes the original from 1992, kind of modernizes it in a way, but again, like Declaration, it takes it further. It kind of sheds the most dated feeling elements of the original. It's not quite as clean and lavender smelling. This kind of smells the way it looks. It takes the original, makes it less fresh, less aromatic. It adds a boozy quality. It adds some beautiful, sweet, kind of sticky resins, a nice sandalwood dry down. It's kind of creamy. It's a little bit sweet, but in a more balsamic way. And there is a hint of a cleanliness reminiscent to the barbershop fougere that the original was, but definitely darker here. So classy. You know it when you smell it. That is Pasha de Cartier Parfum. At number 4, from Hermes. A release from last year, one of 2 releases that they put out in 2022 that I think are wonderful. And you will see the other one in this list. First one up here is Terre Hermes H24. Yet again, a flanker done right, takes the original and makes it incredibly cooling and fresh. Now, some might say that the Eau Fresh flanker, which is now discontinued, did just that, and it did. But this actually kind of takes that even further, makes it more extremely fresh. Beautiful kind of grapefruit feel, lots of citron. It's a little spicy, aromatic, lots of juniper berry. It's so cold smelling that I swear it makes the air temperature feel cooler. when you smell it. It's bitter, it's sharp, it's fresh, it's juicy. It is quite woody. As it dries, you get a bit of that bitter vetiver woodiness that's tucked away in there. It's nowhere near as in your face as the original Terre de Hermes, but it's still there, and perhaps makes it a little bit more accessible to more people because not everyone gets down with vetiver, but I get down with vetiver. If you missed my vetiver video, watch this here. But Terre de Hermes, Eau de Javel, the hype is real on this stuff. I love it. I understand it's not going to be for everyone because the citruses are so intense here. It will give people some negative associations if they have them, but otherwise I think it's worth a try. A great natural smelling citrus here, a natural smelling fragrance in general. Beautiful release from Hermes. Terre de Hermes, Eau de Javel. The next Hermes release that came out a little bit later, I picked this up in a duty-free in London on my way home from a month-long music tour in England, and I didn't expect much of it. I do like the original, don't love it, but I like the original. I saw this was available, I gave it a spray on my hand, and it surprised me. I walked around the store for maybe 10-15 minutes, continuing to smell it, continuing to kind of be enamored by it. Couldn't believe how much I liked it, had to buy it right then and there. This is H24 Eau de Parfum. As I've been saying, those of you who don't like the Eau de Toilette version of this, the originator, you'll probably like this. I think what turns a lot of people off about the original is how metallic it is. Green, metallic, fresh, a bit of almost a bergamot citrus in there, has narcissus and clary sage, adding a damp green earthiness and a bit of an herbal sweetness, respectively. But this takes that original and adds a lot of moss and almost makes it resinous feeling. It's less fresh, it's denser, there's a hardier core to it, and it has a meatier base with that moss. Makes it maybe a little bit more mature, whereas the original can be worn by anyone, but perhaps smells a little bit more youthful, but not juvenile by any means. Simple, but different. I appreciate it. It makes the original deeper. Again, maybe gives it a new function, more for the transition seasons, whereas I might save the Eau de Toilette more for the summertime, and maybe even caters to another demographic. Again, a little bit more mature here, so the more mature gentleman might prefer this to the original, but you might like both. Anyway, H24 Eau de Parfum. Number 2 from Dior, my most worn designer fragrance in a while. I've been wearing this a lot. I wore it a lot last year. I'll continue to wear it a lot this year. It's super versatile. It's super easy to wear. It's actually very likable, but it's not basic. Thank God. Dior Homme 2020. A lot of people are disappointed because it is not Dior Homme, the one that we know and love, and I love it, and I have it, and I'm grateful to have it. But I do appreciate this. It's not really an update because it's nothing like it. This is a new fragrance. It's weird that they called it Homme. I understand why they did because it functions as an Homme scent. It is this all-round, mass-appealing, familiar but different smelling fragrance. What does it smell like? Citrus, musk, and woods. It's pretty simple. You get this not super bright, but fresh enough citrus note. You get a lot of isoe super, which is a nice musky woodiness, and there's a bit of an elemi resin filling it out, kind of like a fresh, almost piney resinous feel. So it's not just citrus and woods and musk. There's a little bit more going on in there. Makes it really intoxicating in the air, even for a fresher, kind of easy wear scent, and you can wear it all year round. Performance is not incredible, but it's just fine for me. I think it's a stupendous release. It has quality to it. It has wearability to it. And it's not riding the trends like everything else out there from major designer brands. Really appreciate this stuff. Dior Homme 2020. And what could be number 1? This was hard, but at the same time it was easy because when I really put them all next to each other, this one stands out. It has the strongest lineage behind it. Not a long one, but a strong one for sure.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is that it is among some of the best-selling designer fragrances on the market. That's not why I like it, because I like this, it is a flanker, way more than all of its predecessors. I understand why they sold so well, but this one is the best one. If you're asking me, it does what a flanker should do as I've described, and this is Sauvage Elixir. Yep, I think this is the best modern designer release, objectively, honestly, in the last 5 years. Takes the original Sauvage, clean, shower gel, metallic, spicy, fresh, almost like a modern fougere, but really stripped down. And they've been getting darker with each iteration, with each flanker. And this is the darkest one yet. Still retains a freshness, definitely reminiscent of the original, but so much more body here. Similar to H24 Eau de Parfum, it's gonna take the original and make it more mature smelling. This smells a little bit more like 30, 35 plus, if you're asking me. Very refined. There is freshness from citrus. There are spices like cardamom. If I get a fresh cooling cardamom in here, maybe some nutmeg as well. There's a cooling and a warmth to it all at the same time. Dries to some wood, some ambery notes, almost resinous. It's very thick and dense and rich while still being fresh. Smells a little bit old school. Has even more of an old school fougere feel, honestly. And it is incredibly powerful. I've seen people saying that it barely lasts 45 minutes on them and they don't know why. If that is what's happening to you, you are experiencing olfactory fatigue, because this is easily in the top 5 strongest fragrances out of the hundreds that I own. It is so strong, I can't do more than 2 sprays. If you watched my first impressions video, I did 4 sprays. And a lot of you guys are in the comments saying, Justin, what are you doing? It actually wasn't a problem for me that day, but I realized that's not necessary. 2 sprays is all you need. Super versatile. You can wear it all year round. You can wear it for any occasion. It pretty much checks all the boxes. So I have to give it to Dior Sauvage Elixir, but I do actually really like this stuff. I don't love it, but I really like it. And I like it a whole lot more than its predecessors, as I said. Sauvage Elixir. That's my number 1. I want to know what you think. Let me know down in the comments what your opinions are on this ranking. We don't have to cut it up too deeply because it's kind of futile, but I'd love to know what you think of these fragrances, at the very least if you've tried them. There's going to be links in the description to try all of them if you're interested. And thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.